Hello and welcome to today's exclusive webinar on why Lenzing's TENCEL fiber is at the heart of all consumer lifestyle trends. Thank you for taking the time to join us here today. I am pretty sure you won't regret it. My name is Schleuchardt and I am really excited to be the host of today's webinar, guiding you through the next 45 minutes of interesting insights into the topic at hand. So we at Lenzing celebrate a very special birthday this year, the 30th anniversary of our TENCEL fiber. We look back at many collaborations and innovative collections made of our sustainably produced fiber. And one such collaboration is the new LENZING Lyocell Standard fiber collection, which we showcased at Interfilière Paris last week. But before we take a brief look at the agenda, take a look at this collection and see who helped us create it, I would like to play a small video getting you in the mood of celebrating TENCEL with us today.
Ours is a journey that started with the seed of an idea, nurtured and strengthened over 30 years to create a fiber so unique it has woven together the course of fashion history. Born from nature, it has the power to do more than just create soft, beautiful fabrics, but empower the world to feel good about the future. To feel good knowing we are making better choices for the greater good of our planet. Something that feels so right for right now and the next 30 years to come. TENCEL, feel good fibers since 1992.
So, really cool video, and we're really excited about celebrating this birthday and also celebrating it today with this webinar. What's on the agenda for today? I started with a brief introduction about our TENCEL 30-year anniversary. Then main topic of today is this collaboration project and the capsule collection done by our two partners. We are talking about emerging consumer attitudes, lifestyle shifts, and product inspiration. We will present this capsule collection and also put a spotlight on how is TENCEL relevant in the future for our two partners, Sue and Maria. Then another colleague of mine will talk a few things or tell you a few things about the specifics of the TENCEL fiber. So really, why is it a sustainable one? Why is it a fiber of the future? And what are the functional benefits? And last but not least, there is a brief Q&A session. So please also small remark on the right-hand side of your WebEx window, you have a section that says Q&A. Please type in a question. We will try to answer it afterwards. Feel free. There are no stupid questions, only stupid answers. And please use this chance to ask the panelists here directly. Talking about panelists, a brief introduction. So I talked about two of our partners we did this capsule collection with. It's Sue Barrett and Maria Janssen, both working in creative direction, creative consultation. Sue is also trend forecaster. Maria is as well. And I'm not going to talk more about them. I will let them introduce themselves. Another one I'm very excited to introduce is my colleague Bernd Schleuchardt. He's a senior business development manager for our segment Fashion Knits and Essentials. He has the technical background and also the experience with Lenzing, but also other partners to really give you some details about our TENCEL fiber. But now, enough talk from me. This video is recorded also. So if you feel that it's so cool and it's so exciting, you want to rewatch it or hand it over to your colleagues, you can do so. But I suggest you take a look at it before. We will put it on YouTube, don't worry. And I'm happy to be handing over to Sue and Maria now. Thank you.
Welcome to Lenzing's Choose Your Future trend presentation and webinar. We're delighted to join the Lenzing webinar today. Lenzing is already known for game-changing products in the market, and we're very excited to support lensing in connecting these to future trends.
We are Sue Barrett and Maria Janssen, independent creative consultants, both working within the fashion and textile industry on creative, product and art direction, trend forecasting and consumer attitudes for companies such as WGSN, Stylus, VF Europe, Nike, Amazon Fashion and Tommy Hilfiger. TENCEL blended products and the lensing philosophy for striving for renewable design matches our values about re-educating the industry and innovating with circularity as a focus.
In the next 20 minutes, we will bring you an overview of Spring/Summer 23 developments, and we will highlight why TENCEL blends are the fibers for the next decade and at the heart of our emerging lifestyle and consumer trends. Starting with an overview of consumer lifestyle trends, we'll then dive into the capsule collection we have developed for lensing. And these are reflected in 3 concepts for Spring/Summer 23. They are home spa, switchwear, and rest and recovery.
The role of trends has been changing over the last few years. We're at such a pivotal time in the textile industry where the politics of sustainable sourcing and manufacture require re-education for the industry as a whole.
Think big, dream on, and plant the seeds for change. In the words of historian Dr. Yuval Noah Harari, who is known for his awe-inspiring insights on what it means to be human, we tamed nature to give us power, and we're now redesigning life to fulfill our wildest dreams. The next few slides will focus in on emerging consumer shifts and insights that trigger shifts in the marketplace.
In today's new world order, we're constantly evaluating, healing, and protecting ourselves and our planet. As we work towards our well-being and the future of the planet, we curate and evaluate the products and the environments that we create and surround ourselves with. As this new world order invites us to live increasingly solitary lives, the lure of simplistic community-based alternatives has never been stronger. We're seeing gyms for mental health and emotional fitness classes emerge. We're also seeing emotionally charged spaces, such as galleries, being called out as the playgrounds of the future. For example, on the right, you can see Mandala Lab, which is a New York-based well-being center where emotions turn to wisdom. Mandalas are Buddhist teaching tools that can be used to learn how to confront and transform the 5 key emotions, which are pride, attachment, envy, anger, and ignorance. Sleep is the new going out, we're delighted to hear. This reflects a key shift in sports and well-being industries towards rest and recovery. Gen Z influencer mindset talks about lie flat as a concept and urges us to consider a more work less and enjoy more lifestyle, realigning priorities for both living and working. Our wellness journey continues and teaches us about the decay of sleep deprivation as reflected in influencer brand messaging, such as here on the left by Sporty and Rich, who tell us to be nice and get lots of sleep. The healing home becomes a space for introspective acts of self-care. As our homes become multifunctional as living and workspaces, spa-like interiors, soothing colours and lustrous shine ensure that home spaces and loungewear are places and products that we can switch off in, but also indulge in. High gloss is back for interiors, not something we've seen for a long time. It's about indulgent and glossy surfaces that have a spa-like feel to them. This is also reflected in loungewear, which is getting glossy, indulgent, and a very sensual upgrade. Our relationship with touch has also been redefined. It's about comfort and the psychology of touch, which emerges new forms of self-care as we see the reappreciation of non-visual senses like touch, smell, and sound. As a result, perfume and food industry developments align and collaborate with fashion more closely than ever before. So we're seeing passive styling and switchwear emerge as concepts that blur traditional tailoring with innerwear and athletic homeware to create a sensory experience. Inverted layering sees the evolution of innerwear as work and home lives blend. We continue to see a more intimate style of layering with innerwear worn as outerwear. We're seeing the continuation of corset style dressing and increased transparency through open knit stitches like crochet, drop needle and azure stitches. But we're also seeing a reaction against basics as we know it. People really want to experience the wonderful every day, and they want their clothes to reflect that. It's a playful, content creating, Instagram ready self-care mindset that connects skincare and self-care all together with the environment. This is very much reflected in the acceleration of brands that are entering this space. For example, Pangaea. I mean, everybody loves Pangaea. This is the brand that infused their apparel with edibles, and now they infuse their edibles with superfoods. So we used to work with Katie from Story MFG, which is one of the Gen Z brands to wear. She's got an incredibly engaging and influential narrative that calls out the natural properties of plant-based colour. But this is a brand that's also celebrated for their pioneering focus on ethical global manufacturing. And Katie so rightly points out that if the chemicals in our skin were packaged into a cream, you'd never let it anywhere near your skin. So why do we ignore it when it's in the things that we wear? So with this new mindset comes a new way of communicating and engaging with customers. It's really about values over information, a new way of thinking about products as agents of change. Consumer-led re-education prioritizes values first and drives this minimalistic yet powerful aesthetic with a really upbeat, Instagram-ready sentiment. So on the slide, we've got some examples showing how slogans, prints, and labels are really replaced by positive statements communicating brand values, environmental impact, but also in wearer enjoyment of the product. But it's all about replacing them or reinforcing them in unusual placements. And this is a really key quote from one of the very much talked about brands from Copenhagen Fashion Week called Envelope 1976. And it says, "I rest easy at night knowing that my garments won't end up taking 200 to 300 years to break down."
So emerging from this consumer insight, of which Sue has just given you a flavor, were 3 consumer lifestyle driven concepts. They are home spa, switchwear, and rest and recovery. Now, within the LENZING capsule collection, we focused on those qualities and those wellness benefits you'd really want to hug and feel next to your skin. The first trend of today is home spa. Here we see well-being getting a glow up and gloss over. We desire products with a touch of glamour that indulge us, and we surround ourselves with elevated everyday products that enhance our well-being. The color palette is soft and comforting, with luxe blushes and blush tones that sit against rose gold metallics, warm apricot shades, and powdered blue. It's not nostalgic yet contemporary, soft yet vibrant. The home spa fabric family sees loungewear getting a glossy, indulgent, and sensual upgrade. From LENZING's fast seasonal developments, we selected the most relevant, luxurious, and refined qualities. Natural blends in which silk, cashmere, and wool play an important role. And my personal favorite is the ice blue fabric on the top right, which is like a subtle mesh structure, which blends lyocell, silk and cashmere. It's just the most perfect touch and drape on your skin. Now it's all about jerseys right now. Every eye-catching editorial now focuses on a statement jersey item. And this slide depicts this with all the excitement through texture, transparency, shine, drape and gathering. It's the modern luxe aesthetic where intricate and delicate fine piqués and azure open stitches sit against technical sheen surfaces. We see sartorial loungewear looks worn as elevated everyday silhouettes. It's all about softness of silhouette and comfort touch. Lyocell silk blends and lyocell cashmere blends elevate everyday wear using fine textures such as piqués and ribs. Women's silhouettes focus on vintage lingerie twin sets and corsetry influences. They're softened and indulgent, mixing micro-textures and playful glamour, layering with the drape of the lyocell yarn that makes the garments come alive. Delicate details such as ruching and smocking shine through, and they create texture again. Now imagine combining silk pajamas with streetwear. You'll get elevated, soft-tailored looks with technical sheen and drape with a refined, cozy, technical appearance. It's easy wear, everyday nonchalance. And it's all about the fluid and drapey silhouette with the smooth, blended lyocell that gives it a really crease-free touch.
The second concept is switchwear. In the age of content creators, where fashion filters are adding an exciting layer to social media channels, inspiring and unexpected combinations and hybrids are reshaping the fashion categories as we know it. Who doesn't love a fashion filter? Switchwear is a modern day love affair of chic yet relaxed body fit layering. It's about a one garment for all occasions with shapewear combined. And you can wear it for sport, for swim, for casual layers, or even as an evening base layer with glamorous overlayers thrown on the top. It's about 24/7 hybrid solutions for dressing up, working out, and play. This trend is all about effortless layering that transcends different moods and occasions. It's dressing up with ease, combining activewear and high-octane glamour. I mean, how really have we lived without that? This story is about active stretch base layers worn with flowy, semi-transparent overlayers, both as relevant for everyday layering as it is for high-octane glamour dressing. So we selected a silk cashmere textural blend for added luster and drape. But we also added in here an upcycling with leftover LENZING and TENCEL yarns that we explored in an artisan cover-up for a slouchy statement elegant look, which you can see on the bottom right of the slide. So for textures and surfaces, really the essential message here is just add fun. It's about exuberant easy wear. This trend is about energetic micro textures that work well with playful details and layering. Playful lyocell piqués, mesh mini textures all intersect with active hyperstretch for effortless base layers. For women's silhouettes, it's all about body conscious statement glamour with peekaboo sports layers with cutout details, but all styled with long line silhouettes. It's about playing with semi-sheer dramatic looks that transition from day to night. But it's also about incorporating the importance of the dawn of the waist age, which is really prompting some proactive recycling. And it's really informing some really radical creativity that's shaping a new influence on luxury. So a new era of make it yourself, which elevates upcycling and enhances so many beautiful collections.
On to the third trend of today, which is rest and recovery. Now, as we discover the empowering benefits of rest and recovery, we gain an increased appreciation of touch and the non-visual senses, smell, sound and taste. It's really a focus on being rather than doing. Confident touch emerged as a new form of self-care. The feeling of fabric touching the skin is now appreciated as a high-end sensory experience. And what are the qualities you would want to hug next to your skin? Make rest and relaxation a part of your emotional fitness. Tactile comfort can be found through quiet, weighted and brushed textiles that are very soft against your skin, and then also suede finishes that create a luxurious touch. Warming neutrals, golden hues and reddish brown tones invite us to turn in, rest and reflect. In rest and recovery, fabrics are all about the sense of the fabrics hugging your skin. It's about going inwards and discovering soothing, soft surfaces that encourage us all to feel very much at ease. So here, the Cashmere Blends emphasizes the natural soft touch of Lyocell. It's super sueded, it's peached and brushed. Dream of soft, huggable textures with a gentle bounce and lofty volume. Micro patterns such as a waffle and drop needle add tactile relief, whilst dull surfaces contrast with this technical sheen. Rest and recovery calls for deluxe softness in sculptural volume and textures, such as open and loose constructed waffle, honeycomb, and dimensional PKs. You can almost think of this capsule as reposewear that helps you feel like your very, very best self. So imagine cozy quilted matching sets, a cropped quilted kimono with matching shorts, and a sheer touch vest. It's the ultimate cocoon. And for men, well, this is all about wearable self-care. Loungewear and soft tailoring hybrid silhouettes in lustrous Lyocell handle and a very smooth grease-free touch.
Sustainability is a journey. Sustainability is a shared responsibility. It's a loop which we all need to connect into to make the economy circular. The global consumer needs to shift to a keeper culture in which the goal is to make beautiful products that people will want to keep. Thank you for joining us today. We hope that you have your best day.
Wow, quite impressive. Thank you, Sue Maria, for sharing these insights and sharing the beautiful, really, I saw it live and at first hand, this beautiful collection with us, this capsule collection. As we said before, my colleague Bernd will also go into an exciting topic now, namely the TENCEL fiber. And for that, I have some questions for him. The first one is really about his excitement with TENCEL. So Bernd, talking to you directly, you have a very rich history in the fiber industry. So 11 years, more than 11 years with Lenzing already, and several more, we won't say how many, with a spinning machine producer. So what's your excitement with TENCEL Lyocell? What makes the fiber so special for you?
First, Lisa, thank you, but it's not a spinning textile machinery, it's the knitting textile machinery.
Oh, I'm sorry for that.
And it's a lot of years, of course. All about the TENCEL Lyocell fiber is exciting for me. It starts with the sustainable production, the biodegradability, to the functional properties like being gentle to the skin. I think one of the best one, the smooth fiber smoothness. It's a great moisture management, strength of the fiber, and that's not all. It's also the unfavorable for the bacteria growth properly. I think these are very, very important, and I think this is also very, very good for each person and for the skin and everything.
Mm-hmm. So we heard about sustainability before, so I want to briefly touch up on that topic as well. So Sue Maria mentioned it in their part of the presentation. Also, you mentioned sustainable production. We see it here on this slide as well. Why is the TENCEL fiber sustainably produced, or why are we able to even say that?
I will say that the TENCEL Lyocell production process is one of the cleanest around the world, and also from other materials. It is a closed loop fiber production process. The solvent which you're using can be reused again and again and again, and have a recovery rate of more than 99.8%. And the used water, this is also very important, the used water can be obtained by the evaporation step. It's feed back into the process. That means it's everything reused again, include the water and also include the solvent.
Wow. Okay, so that's an impressive thing. So really talking about sustainability here.
Yeah.
Something else you mentioned right at the beginning, and also something we heard about the luxurious touch of TENCEL Lyocell. You also said it's very gentle to the skin. Let's dive into that a bit more. What's meant by that?
I think you must, yes. As you see in the picture, the TENCEL Lyocell has a very smooth, round and even fiber on the left side, in comparison to the other fiber materials like cotton, wool and the polyester. And exactly this surface makes this TENCEL Lyocell gentle to the skin. Let me give two personal examples the last 11 years. In the past, when I was young and also middle-aged, I think wearing mainly, as all of us, 100% cotton t-shirts. And in summer when it's hot outside, and you walk doing anything in the garden, you walk this 100% TENCEL cotton t-shirts, and this was very common. But I'm really know that all these people which wearing these 100% cotton t-shirts also know what I say now, because with this high temperature and the sweat of this, the 100% cotton shirt sticks every time on the skin, and this feels not very comfortable. After I started work with LENZING, I heard from TENCEL more and more TENCEL Lyocell properties, and then I try to buy or to have a 100% TENCEL Lyocell shirt and also 100% cotton shirt as well, and test it in the same climate condition. And really I feel the difference, because this 100% Lyocell, TENCEL Lyocell shirt not stick on the skin. It's absorbing the same, it's everything the same, but the wearing of a 100% TENCEL Lyocell shirt is much more comfortable. Another example, coming a little bit from personal thing, but from the outside, from the industry. Few years ago, a customer from us, which have a warp knitting mill, and he's the main developer in textile. He come in during a fair to me and asking me about the properties of TENCEL Lyocell. And after a long discussion, he take all this information back and think, okay, we will see what's going on. After 3 months, he called me. And during these 3 months, it's very quiet, and he called me and say, very thank for this detailed information. And I asked, what is the benefits, what he take about this TENCEL Lyocell fiber and the information he got from my side. And he told me that the daughter of his friend suffers this neurodermitis illness. That means she grabbed a lot on her skin. And now he's thinking about these properties of gentle to the skin. He produce a fabric, make a t-shirt, a very simple one, give it to her, and please try it. And you cannot thinking about, after nearly 3 weeks, she scrapped really about 30-40% less on the skin, and also the red skin goes a little bit back. That means since this time, this customer developed a lot of warp knits. I think it's 6 years ago, a lot of warp knits with TENCEL Lyocell, because he is really very happy to have this kind of fibers in their whole fabric production.
Okay, so very cool. It's not that you made your personal experience and are personal brand ambassador for TENCEL. We also saw that it even helped someone and it made a difference. These are cool stories. It's nice if someone has to tell something like that. I mean, you briefly touched the topic of moisture management also in that regard, being gentle to the skin, but in general, what does TENCEL Lyocell have to offer the person wearing a garment made out of it in terms of moisture management? What's so great about it?
The TENCEL Lyocell has a very good and high water absorption capacity. That means do this fiber do this fiber microstructures, because too much computers with this fiber Microsoft structure. If you can see on the left side, it's absorbed a lot of water. It's very similar to the cotton one. It's a little bit more, but similar to the cotton one. But the most difference concerning cotton, for example, for the absorption is that all the water, mainly to 70 to 80%, 100% go in the fiber and 70 to 80% outside is dry. That means they absorb this water or sweat into the fiber and you don't feel dry when you wear it. That means this is also one point which I discussed before for the gentle to the skin, and this is the reason why the TENCEL Lyocell should not stick on the skin, because you feel really dry, fresh, and also these 20% which are a little bit outside of the fiber or the fabric, it feels you a little bit cool. That means also TENCEL Lyocell have a little bit a cool touch. Very best for the summertime.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's great. So yeah, we shared some technical details and functional benefits now. Of course, this is also something we should mention here, but coming back now to the capsule collection from Sue Maria, the capsule collection that they did. Bernd, what's your personal highlight about it? Is there anything that really got stuck in your mind?
In general, I like all the garments because they have a special touch also concerning the different materials. But one of that is my favorite. It's not fits really to an innerwear, inner garment, but it's this fantasy sweater. If you see it, you will be wondering why exactly that kind of garments. It looks at the beginning a little bit fashion or fantasy or crazy, whatever you can thinking. But if you know the story behind, I think I understood your doubts, and so let me explain it briefly. During the garment making, all the other garments which we make, there was a lot of waste from the cutting was created, and exactly that waste was used for manufacturing this special sweater. The different colors you see on the sweater were cut from the waist. The waist were cut in 5mm arrow ribs and tied together with a knot by hand, resulting to a long ribbon. So this ribbon yarn was used to produce, it's a very funny story, it's used to produce a fantasy sweater in an old school 2 needles hand knitting process, which I think only my grandma knows this how to do it. And it's a fabulous step in waste reduction and a new garment manufacture. And then I hope other can also using this kind of waste, not only like we do it with our fibra to get the pulp or again and produce a fiber, but also the fabric waste to have the idea, like in a denim industry, to use this waste again, produce another garment in special different colors.
Well, it's a very cool thing. Yeah, you're right. It looks weird at first sight, but it's knowing the backstory behind it, it's really impressive. So, I mean, we talked about the garment now. Is there anything else you want to add, Bernd, before we go into the Q&A session? Anything else on your mind?
Yes, I want really give a really big, huge and a big thank you to our textile partner who supplied the great TENCEL Lyocell fabrics for this project. For example, it was Tintex, ATP, RTT Textile, Motel Mayas, Polo Pique, Matias, and Arujo, all in Portugal. Additional Ecoten from Turkey and Geo Baby Persata from Indonesia. And of course, as well, a good partner now, starting a good partnership with Assetex in UK, which take care about the organization support and the managing for the garment making in the UK. And I think this will be a big, huge, and I will say thank you to all fabric supply and Assetex special for the garment making. And I will be happy to do another project or more project in future together. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernd. Very interesting insights, also from you as having the technical background here. As mentioned and as announced at the beginning, we now have a Q&A session, and I see that some of you already used this Q&A part on the right-hand side. So I will start posing a question to, or most of the questions actually, probably to Sue and Maria, because people are very interested in that collection. So first question. In summary, what reason makes you believe that the TENCEL branded fibers are the material of the future? Very good question. Who wants to answer?
I'm happy to jump in if that's okay.
Start, go on.
I mean, I think from our experience and from our sort of research in the market and feeling out what the current mood is, TENCEL, the values of TENCEL and the lensing circularity really taps into and reflects the current mindset and values. Everyone really wants to invest in products that are as circular as possible, but they're also looking for products that limit their footprint and have a natural resource. It's also really important to have a tactility about it. So I think that TENCEL really is the ultimate 24/7 fibre, like we saw in the switchwear concept. But essentially what we're trying to create, the design mindset going forward needs to be about striving to create products that people will fall in love with and will want to keep. And if you can do that with a garment that has as an ultimate circularity that Bernard talked about, 99.8% in terms of its circular superpower, it really puts TENCEL in the market as almost like a new raw material that can then have its reinvent itself. So I think that that's beautifully portrayed here.
Very cool. Great answer. Okay, Maria, anything to add on that? Or are you good with Sue's?
I think I'm good with Sue.
So Sue once
I think
again
you said really well.
Everyone loved Bernd's story. He's the key brand ambassador now.
Absolutely.
Okay, next question. What was the most challenging while you created this mini capsule collection?
Good question. Shall I sort of take that one? I think every design project you work on, there's challenges. So one thing we've noticed in the last few seasons, and also when we started working with lensing, is that the boundaries around being a designer, being a forecaster, working in the creative industries have very much changed over the last few seasons. And I'm thinking, for example, remote working. When we first started working with lensing, it was all remote, and we've carried through this process. So that's kind of given us a new challenge, which is not necessarily specific for this lensing project. It's very much the way creatives work nowadays. But I think also the whole, which touches on what Bernd's saying, the whole the consideration, the availability of fabrics, that's also a completely new boundary, a completely new challenge that we work with, which we didn't really consider as much, I guess, a few years ago. So I think those two are, I don't know whether you describe them as the biggest challenges, but they're definitely new things we had to work with, and we were sort of, we were dealing with throughout the project.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's for me.
Okay.
Suze, anything
Cool.
you're kind of...
I guess what really shines through is that you know, as designers, that sort of like unstoppable creativity that regardless of what the boundaries are, you still power through and find a way to reinvent with any you know, any boundaries that have been set. And that's kind of like the design spirit or the creative spirit that always shines through.
And actually, I'm thinking, I came across this really interesting quote the other day, and it's, you know, it was always about design was about form follows function. That was a really, you know, important message. And now people are describing it as form and function follow footprint. And I thought that was so interesting. And I think also that's, you know, sort of touches on this challenge, but that's kind of, you know, how you approach things now. So that gives you a whole different, you know, approach in working creatively.
That's a very nice quote. I really like that. This also kind of reflected for us at Lenzing with TENCEL and all our other fibers we produce.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, for the next question that I see that came in, we're touching on the topic of sustainability, circularity also as well. So, Sue Maria, how do you see the topic of reuse and rental garments? Is this kind of a trend coming back, or, you know, how it was in former times, maybe also where this was more common?
I think it's I mean, I can jump in a little bit there if that's okay. It's very much gaining in relevance and importance in different areas, really. I think that we see a lot of brands taking it back in-house, so buying back their own products, partly to build their own archives, but also partly to protect their brand image. So they're encouraging customers to sell back to them, either through their own websites, but it's really about understanding that the value of resale of products, the value of secondhand. Recently, I was Googling for a particular product. It was a limited edition product. And I was really surprised to see that where it came up was actually a very, very premium auctioneer. It was at Sotheby's. And this was like a denim product. It was a vintage denim product. It was a limited edition. So the duality of like, whereas, you know, secondhand used to be considered as something that was a cheap alternative in the market or a student's alternative, has now become a really, really premium, highly sought out collectible item. So in terms of reuse and resale, it's really, really important. And I think that the future consumer, being very much in that sort of Gen Z Depop generation, their age group is like 16 to 25, but they are the future consumer. What they love about Depop and secondhand and reuse is the fact that it means that they can have that sort of sense of fast fashion, but without having any impact on the planet. It becomes a more circular way of buying into that element of fashion. But also I think that when we talk about reuse is so many people want to create an environment where biodegradable or circular products are more relevant, and how much better to use something where the fibre can be reused and reused, as well as the garment that gains more weight and more gravitas through its age. I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely, it does. Okay. So definitely reusing, keeping an eye on your footprint is definitely something you would confirm.
Yeah, and I think that brands, there is talk of legislation for brands where they will have to take responsibility for their own, you know, whether you call them waste garments, whether you call it, you know, a tax on what goes to landfill, but being responsible for where your garments go and the future of your garments is increasingly more under the radar.
Yeah, absolutely right. So one question also we got is now going back from sustainability and so on, more to the capsule collection again. So are the color trends for this capsule matching the spring summer 23 colors? And if so, can you highlight the 3 to 5 main colors for next year's?
I think definitely. Should I answer this one? I think definitely in color you see two different color trends. Those are the big main trends. One is digital, which are very kind of bright, energetic, vibrant colors, and on the other hand, you see a lot of natural shades coming through. So very soothing, very comforting, nature inspired, but also very much inspired by natural dye, natural botanics, plant-based. So we've kind of looked at those two colors, and as we said already in the previous answer earlier on, we also had to play with what were the fabrics that were available, what were the colors that were available. So from those, we selected colors that had a really bright energy, kind of very, vibrant, bright, and then we put them against very soothing neutrals. So for example, we're thinking a digital orange, a flame red, those were really bright. And then they were sitting next to these honey almond shades. So they were very much warmer, they're very kind of luxurious shades as well. They've got a lot of yellow in them. And they work really well in peaches. I think one thing I'd like to say as well is that just the Lyocell and TENCEL, they take the fabric, the color so well. So you can really develop these very vibrant colors. But then also because they're very nicely peach and they have this soft touch, they also work really well in the kind of the honey tones and the almonds. So that's kind of the color story we had in mind when we started developing and we started selecting the materials and fabrics. And then obviously the garment Bernd pointed out, that was very much like, okay, we're using these leftover bits of fabrics and how do we put them together? So the whole idea was that was going to be a little bit more of a clash, but still around those honey shades and the bright, the vibrant orange.
Okay, cool. So we now know the trend for next year already. It's very good. One step ahead. Okay, I think we have time for one last question, and it probably is going to Bernd. Hope we have still time to answer that. But this question came in several times. So is there a benefit of TENCEL in terms of water consumption in the production process in comparison to cotton?
In the production process of cotton, not really. Because the cotton in the production process for cotton, there's not really a production process. That means this is from the plant and it's coming in and clean it and that's it. From the lyocell production, you need this solvent and the water. But as I explained before, the solvent, it will be always reused. Also, the used water will be reused. But for the water consumption, concerning growing up trees or cotton plants, I think the lyocell will be much more or less, because for growing up the cotton plants to get cotton 2 or 3 times per year, I think you need 10 or 12 times more water for the cotton plants. That means this is also the highest water consumption you need. The trees don't need special extra water. That means they're growing up from the rain or from the earth's water. That's enough. That means you must always compare the plants to growing up to get this kind of material for the fiber, or the other one is the process. But the lyocell process, of course, you need the water, but of course not so much as to growing up the cotton plants. For the cotton, you take it by your hand, and then you don't need the water to clean it. It's a mechanical process. There's not a water process. But end of all, I think the cotton one needs a little bit, or not a little bit, there needs a little bit more as the lyocell if you get then on the end of a fiber. Only concerning the growing up 2 times per year, the cotton plants to get cotton.
Okay. Thank you. So there definitely is less water consumption with TENCEL, taking a look at the whole process of growing the plants and
exactly. You must always have
also
looking to 2 parts, the process and the plants, And the plants is the main issue concerning the water for cotton, And of course, in the dyeing finishing process, I think both are similar. can be of the different kinds of fiber, but there are not so much change or differences. I think the most differences with water is the plants, more for cotton as less for the trees. And in the production process, we need water for the lyocell process, but it's reused again. And for cotton, you don't need this kind of water. That means on the end, it will be not even, it will be much more using water consumption for cotton.
Okay, well, thank you. I guess this is a good answer and a good last question. We're running out of time. If there is anything else you want to know, please get in contact with your local person that is available, of a local lensing office, or also contact the people that have been on this webinar now. We really want to thank Sue Maria once again for doing this project with us, for also sharing their interesting insights. This was a really, really cool thing and a really nice collection. So yeah, if you didn't have a chance to go to Interfilière, unlucky you. It was really cool, but it will also be shown at PD Paris next week. So for those of you who still are curious. So thank you to all the panelists. As I said, this session was recorded. It will be available on demand afterwards. Please give us a few days for that so you can share it with your colleagues. And yeah, thank you again for joining us today, and thank you also for joining our journey from linear to circular and also celebrating our TENCEL fiber with us. You have a nice day. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.